All right, order of operations with integers. So we've seen order of operations. We loved it. We enjoyed it. It breaks big problems down into smaller, more manageable problems. But now we're going to be looking at these with integers. So just don't forget, right? First, parentheses. Second, exponents. Third, multiplication or division from left to right. And the fourth and final step in the order of operations, addition or subtraction from left to right. Now, as we move on with this, with the order of operations, and yes, it is a form of manipulating a math problem to be what we want it to be, keep in mind that it's like a surgeon. Not that I know anything about surgery. I mean, I've had a couple. But like if a surgeon does a surgery out of order, like they don't give you the anesthetic until after they cut you open, that would be pretty bad, right? It's the same thing with the math problem. If you do stuff out of order, it throws things off pretty badly. And one of the main things we want with mathematics is for everyone to be on the same page when they see a problem so that people aren't just doing a problem their own way. So it's systematic that way, and the order of operations keeps things systematic, which is what we want. So a problem like this one, again, we got parentheses, but there's no operations on the inside of the parentheses. So I'm going straight to exponents. Bam, no exponents. So multiplication or division, the first of those two operations I see to the left is this division right here. Negative 18 divided by negative 3. Now, that's an odd number of negatives, so I know my answer is a negative. And 18 divided by 3, we should know that one is 6. So again, I rewrite the expression, and now I have that multiplication, which is farther to the right than the division, which I must now do. 6 times 6 is 36. So now rewriting the expression. So that takes care of all of the multiplication and division. So now I'm on addition or subtraction. This one only has addition. So I'm going to take my negative 4 plus negative 6. Negatives added together is going to make that more negative. 4 plus 6 is 10. So now I got negative 10 plus 36. And now with this part of the addition, I have more positives than negatives. So I know my answer is a positive. And then we would do 36 minus 10, which is 26. So positive 26 would be our final answer, evaluating this expression. That's pretty good. There's our order of operations. Now remember, we may see some examples with absolute values like this. We've already seen some with these square brackets like this, which still act as parentheses. But we may also see fraction lines like this one. Now the top's the numerator, the bottom's the denominator. You just do those one at a time, simplify them to one single value, and then look for the division. So we need to evaluate the top and then the bottom as we would a set of parentheses. So again, parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division from left to right, addition or subtraction from left to right. So again, the order is not always PEMDAS, okay? Or what was it? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It could be please excuse dear my Sally Aunt. But that sounds funny. All right, so here's one of those fraction type problems, and we're going to love it. So for this one, I would focus, again, just on either the numerator or denominator first. Use a different color for that. In fact, let's make this a little bit bigger. So again, I'm just focusing on the numerator. So in the numerator, I got negative 8 plus 6 to the power of 2 minus negative 5. Before I do any operating, I don't like to see that minus negative right there. I'm going to change it to a plus. I didn't have to do that now. You could have done it later, but since it's just subtracting a negative individual value, I can do that right now. No parentheses. I have the exponent though. 6 to the power of 2 is 36. So negative 8 plus 36 plus 5, I would do negative 8 plus 36 first. This part. And I have more positives than negatives, so I'm going to keep that a positive. And then 36 minus 8 would be 28. So now I've got 28, still got the plus 5. So a positive plus a positive, that's going to keep that positive. 28 plus 5 is 33. So I've evaluated the numerator kind of like I would have said of parentheses. Next up, the denominator. Now you could have started with the denominator if you felt like doing so. But I personally always start with the numerator. So I'm going to start with the 9 plus 3 there, a negative 9 plus 3. Now there's more negatives than positives there, so I'll do 9 minus 3, which is 6. So that gave us negative 6, then minus 1. Again, if you prefer, you could show it as plus negative 1 if you'd like. And the reason I like to do that is because it shows that my answer is a negative, because I'm just taking a negative and making it more negative. 6 plus 1 is 7. So that is the denominator. I did not expect a fractional answer. That's what we got. That's okay. I'm just going to keep it like that for now, okay? 33 over negative 7. If you need to type this in the homework, you'd just type in 33, and then you'd... Well, I guess the slash button on the keyboard would work, so there's not really a division sign. That's okay. So slash negative 7, and then you can enter your answer like that, and it should work. All right, here's our next problem. So I do have a set of absolute values on this one, which means I'm going to focus on the absolute value. Now inside that absolute value, parentheses, I would start the order of operations over. Inside the absolute value, there is no parentheses, but I do have that exponent, 6 to the power of 2, which is 6 times 6, and that is 36. So just looking at the absolute value, I now have 36 minus 36, which, if I combine, would be 0. Now, absolute values ask how far away from 0 a value is. And how far away from 0 is 0, 0. Now notice, I changed the parentheses, or the absolute values, into parentheses. So rewriting this expression, now we got 72 minus 4. Now just like we talked about before, the thing we do not want to see is 72 minus 4 first. Don't do it. Please don't do it. There is a multiplication between the 4 and the absolute values right there. So make sure that you're continuing with the order of operations, and don't do the subtraction before the multiplication. Now the way we have it set up, we will. And 4 times 0, bam, that's 0. 4 groups of 0, still 0. And 72 minus 0 now, right? Just going to rewrite that expression. And that's going to give us 72. So after all that work, I don't know if it was all that work, but it was some work. Our final answer there is 72. All right, we'll simplify this expression as much as possible. So just straight order of operations means that we need to focus on the parentheses first. Now there's 2 sets of parentheses here. I'm just going to focus on one at a time. So negative 2 plus 9, I'm going to start with the one on the left. Again, just because I'm used to going from left to right. Negative 2 plus 9, I have more positives than negatives. 9 minus 2 is 7. Bam, there we go. Next set of parentheses. Negative 2 plus 4, again, more positives than negatives. So my answer is positive, and 4 minus 2 is 2. So the new expression, 4 times 7 plus 6 times 2. There's no exponents, so we're going to go straight to multiplication or division from left to right. And I got this set of multiplication farthest to the left. 4 times 7 is 28. And 6 times 2 is 12. We're going to add these together. And 28 plus 12, we can do this vertically if we need to. Not everyone has to, but you can. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. So final answer here, 40. Now, I know we're not supposed to be using calculators right now. If you have one and just wanted to check, with the calculators that I recommended in the announcements, if you were to put this into either one of those calculators, you could type in the negatives, you could type in the parentheses, and it would tell you the answer is 40 right away. Again, right now we want you guys to show your work just so you're understanding what all this stuff is, what it means, and how it works. All right, here's another double parentheses example. So we got this set of brackets. Oh, so the set of parentheses inside the brackets, that's not affecting anything because there's no operations inside that parentheses. So I got -6 minus -15. Again, I don't like to see that minus negative garbage. So I'm going to change it to -6 plus 15. Now by combining these with addition, I have more positives than negatives, so I know my answer is positive. And then I would do 15 minus 6, which is 9. So inside the purple brackets, which is a set of parentheses, I got 9. Now that's 5 times 9 plus 16 is my new, more simplified expression. And here, now that we did the inside of that parentheses, I would look for exponents. There are none. And so we're going to multiplication or division from left to right. 5 times 9 is 45. So I got 45 plus 16. Again, we'll show this vertically as well. 45 plus 16. 5 plus 6 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 plus 1, 6. So, final answer here, 61. All right, here's our next one. 19 minus 1 times parentheses 6 minus 5 parentheses 4 to the power of 2 minus 4. We'll close the parentheses there. So we'll identify our first set of parentheses, the big ones in brackets there in purple. But inside that set of parentheses is this set of parentheses, and it does have operations inside. Of course, there's no parentheses inside the red ones. So we're going to go straight to the exponents, right? 4 to the power of 2, which is 4 times 4, which is 16. So inside that set of red parentheses, again, I'm not writing the rest of the expression so I can stay focused on a specific part. 16 minus 4 is 12. And we've simplified that. So now I will write the rest of the expression. 9 minus. So this is our new expression. And we're still inside that purple set of parentheses. And within that, there's no exponents. So we're going to go to that multiplication part of it. 5 times 12, which is 60. So now I got 6 minus 60. Which, again, I would prefer to see as 6 plus -60. So that I can see, in this case, I have more negatives than positives. So I know that evaluation will be negative. And then I'll do 60 minus 6, which is 54. So that's a negative 54 right there. And that was in the purple parentheses, the brackets. So I got 19 minus 1 times that negative 54. Need a little bit more space though. Now, that set of parentheses has also been evaluated. So I can go straight to exponents. There are none. I'm looking for multiplication or division from left to right. And I do have multiplication right here. 1 times negative 54. Again, that's an odd number of negatives, so I know my answer is negative. And anything multiplied by 1 is itself, so that's going to be 54 negative. I'm going to put that in parentheses just so this expression written out like this makes a little bit more sense. And from here, we're subtracting a negative, which means we can change that to a plus. So we're going to take 19 and add it to 54. 9 plus 4 is 13. 1 plus 1 plus 5 is 7. So we got 73 right there. And that is fully evaluated, right? We've taken that big problem and simplified it into one individual value. This one, Same idea, right? Just straight order of operations, but part of this one is that there's 3 sets of parentheses. One of them is not really significant. The first one I'm looking at is on the outside, right? The biggest set of parentheses I have right here is in purple. The next set I have right here is in red, on the inside of the purple set of parentheses. And the purple set of parentheses are absolute values, just so we remember that, okay? Now, inside the red set of parentheses, we got that -3 in parentheses, but there's no operations in that, so I'm not too worried about that part. From here, I can simplify inside the red set of parentheses. -2 plus -3, so I'm taking a negative, adding a negative, which makes it more negative. 2 plus 3 is 5. So I got that in parentheses, right? So I'm going to rewrite, and yes, you guys are going to love this. I'm going to rewrite the rest of the set, the purple set of parentheses. So inside the absolute values, the purple set of parentheses, we just simplified the red set of parentheses. Now we're going to look for any other set of parentheses. There are none, so straight to exponents, right? I'm going to start with the one farthest to the left, 5 to the power of 2. 5 times 5 is 25. Excuse me. Then 10 to the power of 2. 10 times 10, which is 100. So again, I'm just going to rewrite what we've evaluated. So absolute value of 3 times 25 minus this -5 here times 100. So that's the exponents. Now we'll move to multiplication and division from left to right. And we got some multiplication here. 3 times 25 is 75. And -5 times 100, one negative is odd, so there's an odd number of negatives, makes the answer a negative. 5 times 100 is 500. So I got 75 minus this -500 in the absolute value. Since it's minus a negative, I am going to change that to a plus. 75 plus 500 is 575. But we want the absolute value of that. But before I do, I'm going to write the rest of the expression that we weren't writing because we were focusing on these other parts one operation at a time. So it's a -2 times the absolute value minus 8 to the power of 2. Now that absolute value of 575 is still a set of parentheses, so I need to take the absolute value of 575. And 575 is exactly 575 away from 0. So I'm going to put that in parentheses. I got -2 times 575 minus 8 to the power of 2. And yes, I do need more space. So this is simplifying. It's not simplifying very fast, but it's simplifying, which is what we want. And from here, let's see. No more parentheses need to be simplified, so I'm going to go to exponents, which is the 8 to the power of 2. 8 times 8, which is 64. So again, rewriting this, -2 times 575 minus 64. So for me, I need to do -2 times 575. Now there's an odd number of negatives there, just 1. So I know that's a negative. And I'll do the long multiplication up here. So 2 times 575. All right, 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Carry that 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1, 11. So it's a negative 1150, which is now subtracting that 64 there. Now, just like I said in the previous unit, I would not write this as subtraction. I would write it as addition. Not that you have to, but I would change this into add a -64. Okay, so I know I'm taking a negative and adding another negative, which is going to make my answer negative. But then I can just add those two values together. So 1,150 plus 64 is a 4, 11, carry the 1, 2, 1. Negative, right? We need that negative part of the answer. 1,214, which is our final answer there at the bottom.